I try to think of books that did something, had almost a kind of physical effect on me.
Mm-hmm.
So reading nonfiction, reading about architecture is so abstract. It never has a really physical effect on me, although, of course, being in architecture has physical effects on you. You feel a power, or you have these. It's very visceral. But for me, reading about architecture is like reading about food, generally. It's not the same thing as eating it. But fiction has very, very strong effect. And so sometimes you read something, although Nabokov is not fiction, but the language is so amazing. And, when you talk about the story of your life, probably it's also fiction as well. He would write things that made me actually physically feel like I wanted to scream, like there was a kind of a, I don't know, very feeling of exaltation. So, and I think fiction or amazing writing is the only writing that can do that. And also, as I said, I wanted to be sort of moved. So something that really moved me, because, that Harold and the Purple Crayon is a book that was probably read to me in kindergarten or first grade, so that's so many years ago. But it had such a powerful effect because, as a child you feel sort of helpless. You feel as if you're, everybody takes care of you and they tell you to do things and you're kind of helpless. But suddenly there was a child who wasn't helpless, and it was because he could draw his world. And so this idea that you can create your own world, to me, is so much a part of design and architecture. So when you first go to design school, you start to think, well, I can design where I live, I can design my room, I can design the table, and then you start to think, I can design my shoes, I can design a plate, and it goes back to Harold and the Purple Crayon, because you can create your world through your mind, through your hand.
Well, it's similar for me, but a little different. And I think it's interesting, you talked about Harold and the Purple Crayon as empowering you to think about the space. For me, Creeper's Jeep, which is no great book, let me tell you, no one would put it on their top seller, but it affected me because it actually empowered me to feel that even though as a child I believed I was a total flake-off and worthless, that something good would come of it. And it was a moment of lifting myself up and sort of imagining that all of the low-level activities in my life could, by accident or good fortune, amount to something. And I think that that's what fiction does. And I think that that's what looking at art does. And I think architecture rarely does that. We, as Billie says, we live in a world where we see architecture all the time. I'll look at architecture books to look at something specifically, but to read a book and to go through it and take the whole book in, to me is, it's very, very rare I go through such a book. And I don't refer to other people's work. I'd rather refer to our work and refer to experiences that we've got, or imaginative experiences in our lives as we move forward. I learn through experience, and the most visceral and powerful experiences are ones that have to do with the physicality of life that is more than just an intellectual. Not that one couldn't be extraordinarily stimulated by an intellectual idea, but I think ours are grounded, our worlds are grounded in the world itself. I think that the great thing about books and architecture and theory, and they are terrific, is I think that acts as a counterbalance to essentially our natural desire to live in the world, to be part of the world, to exist in that physicality, and that imaginative physicality, rather than the intellectual physicality. And we teach for that reason, to try to articulate ideas and to listen to ideas and understand them. But I have no desire to go from one end of this to the next, footnoting volumes. If that were the case, I can't imagine I could be an architect. an architect who builds.
Oh, it's, I use reading to escape from Todd. I don't know, he may do the same thing.
No, she uses it entirely to escape from me.
It's when the book is up, do not talk to me.
Yeah. Billie is really the true reader, and I'm so much slower a reader than she is that there's no comparison. I do read.
You remember what you read.
It is true.
I only remember some things of what I read. You really remember what you read.
Yeah. I remember more of what I read probably than Billie does, but she needs it to escape from me constantly. So, but also, really, she escapes into the language. You love the language, and you love the writing, and you love the books, and the books are a great comfort to Billie. They're important to me, but they're not the same kind of comfort.
The books tell stories, and the objects tell stories, and I don't think we don't collect any specific thing, but we see things, and they're very powerful for us. And of course, we're lucky to travel a lot because of work, and so we see things, and it's very strange because maybe it's not. Of course, it's not strange because, as you said, we have these sort of parallel choices, and so we'll always zero in on the same thing. So those objects that we buy from other parts of the world, or from this junk store that we like to go to in northern Michigan, they're always things that we agree on, and we don't even have to talk about it. They are always...
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I will buy something thinking of it for Billie, sometimes for me, but we sort of agree on them. I would say that it upsets me. Billie is the one that throws away books. It's very hard to throw away books.
I give away books.
You give away books, pardon me. I would like never to give away an object, but Billie would like to give away objects too. If my life would be, festooned with more and more objects and books and layered, I would be very, very happy.
Todd could be the Collier brothers of...
Yeah, Billie is the only one that stops us from... I mean, it's pathetic. I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying I love to have these things nearby, and they could be as common as Harold's Purple Crayon, or a boat that I partially made with my son. And that holds just the same amount of importance and love for me as the, let's say Moby Dick, which I picked, or the Martin Poirier drawing that we've got. Sorry, Martin, there's no difference. They are the same to me. And I read them both, and I love them both, and I kind of like the fact they're both there together, and one of them needs to be opened up and to be enjoyed, generally. The other one is just sitting there. I'm reading it, and it gives me comfort.
It's so easy to talk about the books that you read. I just think it opens up so many parts of a person that either they would choose to hide, or they wouldn't even know how to express. And by talking about your favorite books, you really sort of open yourself up. And it's very, very revealing, which is why I think this is a great book.